Aloha. My name is Alexis Fisher. I'm a freshman at HPU. Welcome to CSCI 1061. I will be talking about the history of the Altair. The subtopics I will be covering is the development and release of the Altair, the impact on the computing revolution, and the long-term effects of the Altair. The development and release of the Altair. In class, we watched the documentary Triumph of the Nerds, which explained a little bit about the history and release and development of the Altair. In the early 1970s, computers were big, expensive machines that many ordinary people did not own. In the early 1970s, computers were giant, expensive machines owned by corporation labs and university, not so much ordinary people. But in Albuquerque, New Mexico, engineer Ed Roberts, the head of a small company called MITS, believed that there was a truly affordable computer for hobbyists that could be reached. The company MITS was struggling with money, and Roberts needed a new product to save it. The Intel 8080 microprocessor computer released, which was powerful to serve as a real computer but inexpensive enough to keep the cost low. Robert and his team worked under limited resources to create a machine that would be simple and cheap, enough to sell as a kit for electronic hobbyists and people that wanted to do computing as a hobby. Triumph of the Nerds talks about the importance of the Altair's debut in a magazine called Popular Electronics in January 1975. The magazine had an enormous impact. Many people were very excited to see a casual computer for many normal people to use. The development and release also created a big ripple effect. It inspired many other computer enthusiasts like Bill Gates and Paul Allen. They later contacted MITS to offer a BASIC interpreter for the new machine. Their work on the Altair BASIC became the foundation for Microsoft. It led to Microsoft and Apple later becoming the Altair's most significant legacy. The impact on the computing revolution. When the Altair was released in 1975, no one realized that that machine would change the world. The Altair became the spark that ignited the personal computing revolution. For the first time ever, there was a real programmable computer for a price that ordinary people could afford and assemble at home. One of the greatest impacts that came from that was the community that it created. Many people expressed their love for the Altair by forming local clubs to help each other build, program, and experience with the new machine. For example, there was a group named the Homebrew Computer Club that became breeding grounds for ideas, innovation, and tech leaders. It was meetings that young engineers and entrepreneurs imagined what personal computers could become. As mentioned previously, Bill Gates and Paul Allen saw the Altair on the cover of Popular Electronics, and they realized the future of what that creation could be. The hardware of this machine had an influence as well. The Altair's expansion system became the first industry standard for personal computers, and that entailed things like an entire ecosystem of add-ons, upgrades, and competing machines. Overall, the Altair greatly changed the way that people thought about computing. It showed that computers didn't have to be giant machines that barely anybody could get their hands on. It could sit on a desk, be programmed by anyone, and eventually become part of everybody's life. The Altair turned computers from elite tools into personal devices. The long-term effects of the Altair. Over the decades, the influence of the Altair has made its way through every corner of modern technology. The Altair didn't just introduce personal computing, it reshaped the entire direction of the digital world. Altair, proving that individuals wanted their own computers to explore, program, and build, shifted the way for companies like Apple, Microsoft, and many more to develop their own personal machines. Those companies that were created due to the Altair are now companies that we use in our daily lives and are very crucial to things like jobs and school. Apple first created their Macintosh computer based on the Altair. Now, in 2025, I'm using my MacBook Air to record this. But in a more technical sense, the Altair influenced the development of hardware standards. Its internal expansion system, eventually evolved to the S100 bus, is one of the earliestly widely developed standards in microcomputing. A big part of the long-term effects was cultural. The Altair helped create many generations of computer enthusiasts, people who learned by experimenting and sharing ideas. Many of those hobbyists became engineers, programmers, and entrepreneurs who drove Silicon Valley forward. But Altair just really shaped the way society views technology. It made computers from mysterious, complicated devices into personal tools that ordinary people own and understand. This idea continues today, not just in computers, but in phones, tablets, and the devices that we use in our everyday life. I hope learning about these things allowed you to learn more about the history of the Altair. Here is my works cited. Thank you for watching. Go Sharks!